Now that we are familiar with how to create a group report, let's talk about how we might use this information. In this example, I'm using a safety quotient team report to compare people who've had some form of incident in the last year against those who haven't. By using my averaging function, I can already begin to see certain trends in my information. For instance, I can see that people who are impatient, distractible, and thrill-seeking seem to be getting into incidents far more than people who aren't. I can also see that people who are impulsive don't really seem to have any big swing in the rate of incidents that I seem to have. This might help tell me that when it comes time to either train or hire new staff, I need to be on the lookout for these particular traits. This might also tell me that when it comes time to perform some form of safety training, these are some of the things that I might want to highlight or focus in on to help reduce my incident rate. In this example, we're looking at a work style and performance team report to compare two different teams, in this case, New York and Vancouver. If one team significantly outperformed the other, this might help give me some guidance as to why that is. At the same time, if perhaps I was transferring someone from New York to Vancouver, I might want to be aware of why certain things are different and what I might need to prepare that person for. In this example, I've noticed that people in Vancouver are significantly more outgoing than people who happen to be in our New York office. This might suggest that if I'm going to transfer someone to our Vancouver office, I'm going to want to make sure that I pick someone who's more outgoing, as they might have an easier time fitting in. Another way that we might use the WPP team report is to compare a series of applicants against someone who already has the job. In this example, if we imagine that the green dot, the one on the far right under non-dominant versus dominant, represents someone who already has the job, and all the other dots are people who are simply applying for the job, this might help guide my hiring decision. For instance, if I simply want to replicate my star performer, I might want someone who has all of the same traits. If, on the other hand, the green dot represents a senior person who is going to be instructing whoever I hire into the role, one of the things that I might want to look out for instance, is non-dominance versus dominance. I'd want to make sure that I hire someone who is less dominant than my existing supervisor. Another way we might use this report is to fill in gaps. For instance, if I know that under normal circumstances, when everything's fine, my existing employee does well, but in emergency situations where things might go a little strange, they do quite poorly, I might be quite interested in hiring someone who is on the opposite end of the scale.